Concept Application Project Healthcare Delivery by Amber T. Overview of Patient Care Delivery System. The incident that I'm going to describe happened in a blind rehab facility. During the second shift in an inpatient blind rehab unit, a patient fell, breaking his hip, several ribs, and his scapula. There was one nurse on duty for care of 31 patients. The patient could not reach a call light to call for help. A patient in a neighboring room had pushed his light for assistance as he had heard the fallen patient yelling for help. The lift that was provided to this unit was not easy to access as the battery was not charged, and due to the size of equipment, this was not easy to set up and utilize in the patient's room. The patient had been identified as a high fall risk when he arrived to the unit, and the room that he was placed in was one of the ones farthest from the nursing unit. Microsystem Model on Leadership. Leadership in the nursing unit of the blind rehab has an authentic approach. Derrick and Interpeller state that this is leadership by focusing on ethics, where individuals know themselves and others, and there's a transparency in the leader-follower relationship. This is a type of relationship where safety and leadership can increase. This is to say that management allows nursing staff to extend their views on issues that may arise and takes into consideration different opinions on how ethical and safety issues should be handled before coming to a decision. That decision is then weighed on what would be the better outcome for the patients. This particular patient had been discussed upon arrival within the nursing group due to his high fall risk. It was discussed whether they should move another patient out of one of the rooms that were closer to the nursing unit. But due to the other patient's comorbidities and higher health risks, the overall decision came down that the other patients should not be moved out of their current rooms. Microsystem Mode, Organizational Culture, and Support. If you look, all of these people are holding up the one individual. They are all working to support this individual. The culture of the blind rehab is to promote independence. There's several microsystems involved in achieving this goal in each individual patient. The main focus on rehabilitation of the blind patient is in all aspects of daily living. The microsystems that are involved look at each aspect of the patient's life, from psychology, social work, rehabilitation instructors, optometry, audiology, and nursing. Nursing takes an ancillary role to this care. Although nursing is there around the clock to provide education, support, assistance, and ensure safety of the patients, the culture is that since these patients are lower acuity, there's not a need to have more than one nurse on off shifts. Derrick and Interpeller state that the safety culture means the way of addressing and applying patient safety and structures and processes created to support it in an organization. The blind rehab program is designed to help patients with safety and mobility, living skills, as well as medications. Rehabilitation in itself takes risks with patients in order to train them, but the nursing culture is to take away that risk to minimize chances of an event. If you teach your patient to do things in a safe way, you are promoting independence within safety. The patient in this scenario was taught how to effectively navigate to and from his room, as well as within his room. He had also been taught where the call lights were and the location of the call lights. Microsystem Model, Patient Focus and Staff Focus. So organizationally, the focus is on maintaining census in order to maintain funding for the program. The staff focus in the Blind Rehab Center is to deliver total patient-centered care. When a patient first arrives, they are evaluated by medical, psychology, social services, if you can say that, and training teams. Each evaluation is individual, and the program is customized to the individual patient for the care and rehabilitation. Odisho and Gore point out that in order for patients to truly understand a health concept, the language, logic, and experience must align. Everyone that works there perceive this as an opportunity to help change the lives of the visually impaired. This training really does help to change life. It takes a person who thought they could never do certain things again, that they really can, but due to their visual impairment, they're not held back on some of the things that they thought they could do. There are several of the employees who also have visual impairment of their own, and this helps to drive their passion to teach, as well as serve as a good example for those patients that their goals are possible. All training that takes place is one-on-one, and there are no group classes. Patients' focus is on deciding what they would like to get out of their training, attending individual classes, and practicing their skills to promote their learning and experience. All staff are responsible for patient safety, but nursing takes on an extra role in this area. If there is an event of an injury or fall, nursing staff assesses the patient as to decide the course of action for their care. Nursing is also available around the clock, where the rest of the specialties go home at the end of the day. Microsystem model, interdependence of care teams. Patients are assessed prior to attending by chart reviews and phone call assessments. If they are appropriate to attend the center, they are admitted, and patients go through all the assessments required when they arrive. They are given a physical by the nurse practitioner. Medication reviews and assessments are performed by nursing. This is where the fall risk scores would be evaluated. And then psychology and social work and their trainers all evaluate the patient individually. After the needs of the patient are assessed by all of the interdisciplinary teams, a plan is made for the specific individual. The nursing role in its function is to evaluate patients' needs for obtaining medical safety and independence. Any issues that are found for safety are communicated within the proper discipline area to meet that patient's needs. In this particular case, the patient was found to be a high fall risk. When he was evaluated for mobility devices, he was using Canadian crutches and was found by his mobility instructors to be efficient with his crutches. He was labeled as high fall risk on his door and with a yellow wristband to notify any staff working with him that he was a fall risk. He was not placed next to a nursing station as the rooms were already taken by patients with greater health issues. Brandrew and Associates found that the availability and functionality of information technology and facilitated data collection improved the effectiveness of quality improvement intervention, well as the involvement of multidisciplinary improvement teams. Just like in this case, everybody communicates with each other for the betterment of the patient. Microsystem model, the use of information and healthcare technology. The nursing department in the blind rehab utilizes the call light system, in which patients have access to 3 different call lights in each individual room. One is located by the patient's bed, one is located between the shower and the toilet, and the third is located on the wall in the patient's room. Each patient is educated upon admission as of the location and the use of their call lights. Nursing also has an air mattress lift in case of a fall. The lift has a battery that is to stay plugged in to maintain charge. If a charge is not maintained, it can be directly plugged into an outlet. This lift is a mattress that starts off flat and can be aired up in sections to lift 1 inch vertically into the air at a time for a total of 4 feet vertical travel. It is the size of a twin mattress. All nursing staff are required to receive training on proper use of lifts. According to Powell & Cope and Associates, a study that took place in the Veteran Association Medical Center between 2008 and 2011, there are several components needed to ensure safety of patients and staff when handling patients. These include equipment, a broad training program, programmatic and contextual considerations. This use of technology is to aid in informing nursing staff in the case of an event in a patient room, as well as provide a safe way for patient handling in case of a fall or a need for transfer. Effective communication, microsystems model, process, and healthcare delivery improvement. The things that are set in place for improvement in the blind rehab center are these 3 things listed here. But first, Derrick and Interpeller state that the safety procedures component of healthcare represents the personnel's shared perception of the details of institutional procedures. The details and concerns by nursing are held in monthly meetings for feedback and information and policy changes. The floor nurses provide feedback to individual patient needs and concerns about safety, as well as procedures and processes. There are staff discussions about individual patient needs that involve multidisciplinary teams with the facility. In case of an event, a root cause analysis is performed, which looks at all factors that may have contributed to an event and helps to find ways in which we can improve patient care and safety. Microsystem model, staff performance patterns. Prior to patient discharge, they have an exit meeting in which the patient provides feedback as to what went well and what they felt could use improvement. Also, every year, each staff member is evaluated on their performance, with each aspect of their job duties listed for evaluation. They perform a self-evaluation, and then the supervisor takes the feedback from the self-evaluation and provides their own feedback for the individual's performance. That way, individuals know what they could work on in order to better their performance for the next coming year. Also, every year, the Commission of Accreditation of Rehabilitation Facilities, or CARF, tours the facility and asks patients as well as staff questions about performance and standards to ensure that the facility is meeting the CARF guidelines. Included in this slide is a list of CARF stroke rehabilitation guidelines, and these guidelines are actually the same as what they are for the nursing blind rehab. If you look at this list just to see a few, I'm not going to read them all to you, but there are things that we look at, such as, is the program designed to meet their interests? Is it aligned with their cognitive capabilities? Does it align with their communication capabilities and reflect their choices? As you can see, this entire program has to meet these standards every year when CARF comes to do their inspections. So they are essentially patient-centered care. Specific aspects targeted for improvement. Within the scenario that was given, there are many aspects that could have attributed to the fall. Patient was identified properly as a fall risk, but due to other patients' comorbidities, the risks, they were placed farther from the nurse's station. The lift system that was involved was not easily accessible due to size and the fact that it was not charged. There's only one nurse on this unit on the off shifts with a census of up to 31 patients. Nursing can call rapid response or a code depending on what's going on with the patients, but in this instance that was not necessary. But the nurse is responsible for checking on these patients and keeping them safe throughout the off shifts. In Christopher's research article, it was noted that the annual total cost of fall-related injuries could increase up to 34.4 billion by the year of 2020 nationally. That's quite a bit of money spent on falls. There's an issue with the call light system in the patients when the patients are independent. They ambulate wherever and whenever they want. They're not always close to a call light location. This puts them at greater risk in the event of a fall. They may not be capable to call for help and would have to hope that someone could hear them yell, as in this patient's case. Looking at all of these issues that are noted, the one issue that might bring about the highest impact would be a personal emergency response system. Since the patients housed in this unit are low acuity, ambulatory, and independent, a fall could happen anywhere on the unit at any time of the day or night. A personal emergency response system would help to locate the patient in the event of a fall. Leading the plan for healthcare delivery improvement. Before proposing the personal emergency response system, it is imperative that data is gathered. It's important to know how much it's going to cost, that we're getting a system that's going to work, and how far the range is. It also would be helpful to have the history of falls on the units and the outcomes of those falls. So I would gather all of this information and then go to the board of directors and bring some of the people who helped me to gather the information with me. And then I would propose that the personal emergency response system would be what is needed for high-risk patients on this unit. It would notify nursing that there had been a fall, locate the patient as soon as the device is activated, and eliminate the risk of patient lying on the floor having to call for help because they're unable to reach one of the call. According to Brondred, Even in spite of limited resource situations, positive changes can be accomplished with good guidance and successful measurement.